All right, fam jam, let's jump in.
You guys ready?
Shazam!
Hi, I'm director David F. Sandberg, and we're about to break down Shazam! Fury of the Gods. So this is one of the big early scenes in the movie where we get to destroy the Ben Franklin Bridge.
It's gonna break!
We had all these cars and all these people here. These cars are rigged to break their windows and jump up off of the ground. And then we added, of course, with the effects, the bridge on the sides. Let's take a look at what it looked like on the day when we shot it.
You're on the set of our famous Ben Franklin Bridge.
There's a lot of CG work to create the bridge itself. Basically everywhere you looked was blue.
I'm working with this new app, and what it does is it brings the virtual environment into the real world. As you can see in real life, there's no actual bridge here, but when you look through this, you can see the bridge.
In post, we will add big metal structures, crushing the vehicles, people just narrowly getting out of the way.
This is my wife, Lotta, here. And she's about to have a very bad day. We're actually pulling the car, and that's a real dump truck behind her that actually smacked into the car. So my wife here is doing her own stunts. Let's take a look at our big motion control shot.
The bridge, that was kind of a high point for me. Visual effects kind of comes up with a previs that works hand in hand with David to kind of go, I want to see this, whole assemble shots. We basically took that data that the visual effects gave us and created all the movements with each one of the characters.
You have this camera that can do the same move over and over again. So we have Mary come in, and then when Eugene flies in, that's a separate take. Freddy, he's being like pushed in. Darla's just doing a little turn. And the final take, Pedro, he's just jumping in place. If you pause right here, it kind of looks like they're all there at the same time, but they were not. Okay, let's take a look at the school rooftop. Freddy's about to find out that Anthea is not who she says she is. We needed a sunset that lasted all day long, so that's why we used these LED screens.
If it's just blue screen, none of this color is spilling onto it, so you don't get this orange color hitting on the side of my face. The DP can capture exactly what he wants to see in the frame and have it be the final pixel product in the movie.
Okay, let's move forward now. Diedrich here is about to jump off the rooftop into a bunch of pads, which was something that Jack did as well. When Freddy gets picked up here, I think that was Jack's first wire stunt. He just loved it.
That was so fun.
He was fine doing that all day long. Let's take a look at the Philly cheesesteak place. This always cracked me up, and it was something I really looked forward to shooting. We wanted something very Philadelphia, where Shazam meets Hespera.
Sam's Steakhouse was a difficult location to find. There's nothing like that in Atlanta. Atlanta's very green and like some rolling hills in town. Philly's very flat, not many trees.
But the Sam Steak in particular, that was a quiet street that we could make look like a busy street. Part of my job is like imagining what it could be, not what it is. For instance, Shazam gets slammed across the road. What's he gonna hit? We had a building that was under reconstruction, so there's a lot of things for him to fall into.
The character of Shazam is just so brilliantly played by Zach. It was so fun to sit across the table and witness that performance that I'd enjoyed so much on screen before.
I remember sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing like a head-to-head scene with Dame Helen Mirren. Helen, you're the best. I've told her this. She's so cool.
They're both such good actors, and they play off of each other so well. Let's go back a little bit. So this table here is an actual table that we pulled into the wall by a cable with such force that it just sort of shatters. The cheesesteaks actually flew over the building. This is the power of elements, and the idea is that she's affecting the water inside their body and making them unable to move. Let's take a look at our big unicorn scene. We had this idea that unicorns probably like dark places, so we wanted to shoot it in this parking garage. Now the camera only went to like 150 frames per second, which is pretty slow motion, but we had to sort of add to it. They stand a little bit still because you want to really see the unicorn opening his eyes and realizing what that is.
Taste the rainbow.
On the day, we had a big full-size unicorn head that I was hoping was something I could puppeteer, but it was just way too heavy, so we had to have it on a stand. But it was great to have there for the kids to interact with. And then if we keep playing...
We're gonna need more Skittles.
I love doing this monster mayhem. To shoot that, we had people in gray suits. We hired really tall people. We paint them out and put in the CG creature afterwards. It helps a lot with sort of the interaction and just with how you frame the shots. Now, when they show up here, the way you shoot people riding unicorns is that you build a little saddle type thing that they can ride on a blue screen stage. It looks pretty badass when it's done, but when you're shooting it, it's very silly. Let's take a look at the big baseball stadium in Philadelphia. So this is my favorite scene in the movie. The big epic showdown between Shazam and Calypso.
We end this now!
Lucy here, when she's riding a dragon, the way you shoot that is we had a big robot arm that she sits on that's sort of programmed for various moves.
Technology has advanced so much now that in a couple of weeks you can have a pretty good section of a dragon sculpted from scratch. We were given a 3D model from the visual effects team to scale, and then we could start manufacturing pieces of the robot.
Our special effects team input the X, Y, and Z data into their system that drives this robotic arm. It's fully articulated, but it's huge. It's for building cars.
This shot of him rising up here was an early one that I did a storyboard of, and I was like, this needs to be a trailer moment of him just rising up into frame, surrounded by lightning, about to fight a dragon. This is the sack on a tuning fork rig where he's being almost like puppeteered so he can roll and be upright or be horizontal. It's quite a workout. You need a strong core to do all these things. And cut. We actually do light up his eyes, which sometimes happens in the comic. We never saw it in the first movie, so I wanted to have that badass moment here. This right here, this is probably one of my favorite shots in the whole movie. I mean, whenever you just do silhouetted things in a lightning storm, it's gonna look great. Let's move forward here. As a reference here, when the dome disappears, I found a lot of footage of soap bubbles filled with smoke that you pop in slow motion, and you sort of see the outer bubble go away and the smoke just pouring out. And then we get to destroy the tree. The monsters, the dragon, they were all created of the tree of life. So when they die, they do turn into leaves and tree-like material. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and maybe now you can watch the movie again and see if you can pick up on all these details.
Shazam!